What do you want them to do? What is your biggest obstacle? Who's your competitor out there? Like right now for clients like 7th generation, it might be the Cloroxes that are coming out with their green claims. But you have to look around you and say, who is actually saying similar things that I'm saying, but what makes me unique? And that's what you want to talk about. Remember, there's got to be one product benefit that you want to convey to them. So it's so important to define your audience. You want to list in priority who you're talking to. Are you talking to funders? Are you talking to teachers? Are you talking to students? How can you get to that person that you want to take action? And because people are looking for people to help endorse them for experts, you might be wanting to talk to teachers, but the way to get to the teachers is through the superintendent. If it's a program you're trying to sell in, you get to the superintendent that tells them how great this program is, and then the teachers buy into it. If you want to have kids eat great yogurt, you're not going to talk directly to kids. Stonyfield Farms was perfect at this. They talked directly to moms. They got moms interested in the project because they're the ones that want their kids to be eating something healthy. So they talk to the moms to get them to buy in to using that product. And what I want to also just sort of need to stop, but we can answer a lot more questions, is to let you know how important the creative brief is and how important having a very creative message coming out of that is. Martha is known for coming up with really incredible lines. She did the Stonyfield Farm cow advertising, where she used the cow everywhere. It was everywhere in the marketing. It was on the product, it was on the lid, it was on the coupons, it was on the advertisements. It was, lines like, "I'm a cow, not a guinea pig." I mean, right then and there it says, "I'm not injected with hormones. I'm not injected with all these chemicals. I'm just a cow. It's just pure milk, and I taste good." She used the lines for zip cars, which were the car for people who don't want one. I mean, those are lines that stay with you. They have all of the message contained in them, the audience contained in them, but they're memorable. Humor is a great way to get your message across, but you can't use humor for humor's sake. You have to be able to use humor with a purpose. I'm going to end there, but there's so much more to talk about, and it really all depends on what you guys are interested in learning more about. It could go on and on, obviously. But I want to stop here, and the one thing I want to leave you with is how important it is to come up with that creative brief, how important it is to be disciplined and think about your product and think about the one message that you want people to be left with, who you want to talk to, and what you want to say. Thank you.
Are there any questions? No? I've got about 15 about the adult industry.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Sure.
What you're basically saying is that you're talking about branding.
Yep.
You're saying green branding is just, instead of Charlie the Tuna saying he's good tasting, you say Charlie the Tuna is sustainable, and it's basically the same thing?
No, you can't say, being able to say, like Method is a great example. Method is a cleaning product, which is one of the first cradle-to-cradle products ever. And their whole business is founded on sustainability. But what are they most known about? Their product aesthetics. It's a really cool bottle, and it's a great product. You can't use, it's not enough to say you're just sustainable anymore. You have to be able to have your product benefit come through first. And just by saying you're green, there's about 1,500 products introduced just this year that are saying they're green. Green is now a word that actually advertisers are trying to move, or should be moving away from. It's no longer a differentiator. It's almost, for some purposes, it's a point of entry. You have to be sustainable in some of these categories. You want to convey that, but that's not your single most important purpose. You get the sustainability messages out in other ways by being a good, corporate citizen, for instance, in your community. And you guys are all, I assume some of you live in Brooklyn here. There are a lot of community projects to be able to adopt. And you go out there and you start talking about who you are as a sustainability business by being involved in the community. The message that you have about who you are, your mission, you need to make sure that everybody in your business knows that, from your employees to the people who are delivering your products. What do you stand for? Who are you? What are you all about? And you need these brand ambassadors to go out and start talking about you and talking about, wow, this company they have a great product, but they also have these really great, practices. This is really cool. And the more they see you out in the community doing things to help the community, the more terrific kind of reputational halo you get. If you go out and you're adopting a community project, wear t-shirts that have your logo on it. You don't have to explicitly say we're great, but obviously people say, oh, that company, that's really interesting, they're really involved in the community. And you start getting that kind of great synergy between what you as a business person and the community, and that speaks a whole lot. And if members are wanting to pick a product, they're probably going to go to your business if they've seen you around engaging in what they're doing too. The other point is, when you're starting to talk about the sustainability movement and people adopting green practices, now you've got consumers actually talking to different businesses about what they want. I mean, a perfect example is the bags. I mean, most people now know that plastic bags are terrible, horrible for the environment, and they're looking for those brown bags or the recycled bags that you can find in grocery stores. And if a store doesn't have one, they're actually going to the store and saying, how can you be using these plastic bags? You have to get, paper bags. So that's one way up, and then put your logo on the paper bag. I mean, there's ways of showing you're sustainable by being authentic about it, and by, exhibiting your practices, showing your practices to your customers in that way, and really engaging with them and talking to them. The other really key part about your customer base is the more names that you get, from, they're signing up for your website or however you might be getting their names, you've got to have a database. You put the names in the database, and you keep communicating with them all the time about new things that you might be doing. The better story you can come out with, the more uptake you'll have in the local press. Go to the local press and tell them your story is. Here's this product that I'm selling, that I'm embracing, or a business that I'm opening. Here's my story. Editors are always looking for something to write about. If you know somebody locally, go to them, talk to them, try to get written up about the creative that you do. Try to enter it in for awards. An award for a creative is great free press. And then you start talking to editors about, hey, our advertising campaign just got this great award, and you start getting more and more people talking about you. It's all about the buzz. And I know that the next presentation will talk a lot about social media. And it's not a surprise that people in the green movement, which you consider sort of innovators, are also becoming innovators when you're talking about media. When you're no longer needing to spend gobs of money on television, TV commercials. You can do this by being really creative about how you use social media. How do you use the Facebook? How do you use the YouTube channel? How do you use LinkedIn if that's appropriate for your product? How do you use, just a multitude of medium, and I know that you'll be speaking a bit on that too. And the important thing is with marketing, in communicating with your consumers, you don't need a huge budget for that. It's nice to have. But whether it's a big budget or a small budget, you have to be really smart about what you're talking about. You have to be really focused about who you are, what's your mission, how you want to be portrayed. And then you have to look outside your doors of your business. You have to see the community in which you're connecting with. The more you can connect with that community and be part of that community, the more they will feel loyalty to you and to what you're selling.